Welcome back. Now, let's turn our attention to security matters now. Nigeria may have scored a major one in the current anti-insurgency war going on in the northeast of the country for over a decade now, as operational activities of the Nigerian military in the past few weeks in tackling security in that part of the country now has continued to yield significant results. The Nigerian military says troops of Operation Hardin K have decimated more than 120 fighters of Boko Haram and Islamic State of West African Province fighters in the northeast in the last 3 weeks, just as airstrikes had killed 37 bandits in Niger State. Now, just last week, Governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, had asked the federal government to consider hiring mercenaries to help end the insurgency once and for all. The governor had warned that it appeared ISWAP was growing in strength and number and that every action must be taken to stop the terrorist group. Here's exactly what the governor said.
I said it time without numbers that there is a need for government of Nigeria to rethink and look into the possibility of hiring mercenaries. I said it time without numbers. There's nothing wrong. America, Britain, many more countries that are stronger than Nigeria to use to seek support outside. There's nothing wrong.
Well, now, days after the governor made that remark, it now appears that the security situation in the northeast has improved a bit. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Bernard Onyuko, while giving update on military operations earlier in the week, revealed that several ISWAP commanders, including their Amir and some foreign mercenaries who make improvised explosive devices, have been killed during air raids and land operations from January 20th to February 10th nationwide. The military said that 965 terrorists and their family members surrendered to troops in different locations within the theater of operation during the period. Now, among those who surrendered are, of course, members or terrorists now belonging to ISWAP. And this is the first time we'll be hearing of terrorists belonging to ISWAP actually surrendering. Perhaps buoyed by the feat of the military, Governor Zulum again had another media briefing where he expressed optimism that if the current onslaught is maintained, the issue of insurgency will soon be a thing of the past. Take a listen to him now on what he said this time.
We have been witnessing gradual return of peace in Borno State, and I came to brief Mr. President on the ongoing massive defection of Boko Haram members. This time around, we have also started witnessing defection of ISWAP members. This is a welcome development, and under a closed door session, I've discussed a lot of issues on how the government of Borno State as well as the federal government will manage the ongoing surrender by the insurgents. We received nothing less than 30,000 from beginning to date. No, both Boko Haram. ISWAP, we have started receiving them in few numbers, but we have also, but Boko Haram, we have started receiving them in huge numbers. The way we are going, with the support of the federal government, with good management, Boko Haram will be over very soon.
Well, sounding a positive note there, no doubt. Joining me on the program now to discuss this further is Dennis Amakri now, who is a former director of the Department of State Services. Mr. Amakri, thank you very much for joining us on the program. First off, before we talk about these ISWAP members who are beginning to defect, now let's talk about the call by the governor of Borno State for the hiring of mercenaries. It's not the very first time you've been making that call. And of course, it's not the first time we'll be speaking about this. But, you know, the governor making the call again, what do you make of this?
I think the person that wears the shoe, feels where it pinches. So remember when Zulum was saying it a long time ago that we should get mercenaries.
But he's not on the front line.
He is in the front line, believe it or not. He is the front line governor. He is right there. They've attempted bombing his convoy a couple of times. So he knows what he's talking about.
But do you subscribe to the idea that we should hire mercenaries to help us out?
Well, the thing is this. Mercenaries are being used everywhere. Soldiers of fortune are being used everywhere. Jonathan used them. Remember the 2014 election? Yes, and then they have to push them back out of those local governments that they were occupying. So I feel that I don't personally want mercenaries because it lowers the morale of the fighting forces.
Exactly.
But if it has come to a level where this thing has continued for more than 10 years, I think we should not close some options in solving this problem.
But you don't think the military can actually end this, especially when you look at the achievements that have been, the successes that have been recorded, especially in recent times, and with the acquisition of more weapons now and the deployment of these weapons now to the field of operation?
They can. They can. That's why new weapons were bought for them. They could go ahead and prosecute this war to a logical conclusion. But it's been taking very long. Remember, these Tucano jets and all the others have come to Nigeria more than a year ago, and we are still on this. Now, when you talk about these people surrendering, that's another kettle of fish.
Yes, and let's just go over to that.
Yes,
For the first time now, the military authorities are saying ISWAP members are beginning to defect. They are beginning to surrender. What does
I
that mean?
hope I really hope that they are profiling them very well because when you have a whole bunch of them surrendering at the same time, um, there are two things that really bother me. One, it could be a Trojan horse. So I believe that let it not be a Trojan horse where all these people are surrendering massively and then they will come in and then, of course, mix up with the society and then start another thing altogether again.
We never,
You know?
one can never be too sure. Anyway, but
Yes, they
all
need
the
to
same,
profile
it's
them.
we can because of this fear and say we won't accept their surrendering, so to speak.
Yes, and they have to really, really profile them properly so that we know who is actually coming. In fact, just like the United States does it, for those people who are surrendering, I think should be taken to an isolation camp where they all should be there, and then of course we have to process them one by one, one by one. You bring them into society, and then they go around walking as if they've won the war because they will be seeing other people that they've killed their families before.
Now, there's a concern I actually have, and I would want you to speak to that. Most of this insurgents or terrorists who have surrendered, some of them that we've seen their pictures in the past, you see some of them surrendering, but they're not surrendering with their weapons, so to speak.
Exactly.
You are not seeing weapons. Isn't that
That
a
is the
cause for
second
concern?
point.
Because if people
Yeah.
are surrendering, you would expect that they will come forward with their weapons. But we just see this, we see these people, we see these terrorists, and we don't see their weapons.
That is the second point that I wanted to talk about, that I'm worried about. These guys are coming out there and surrendering without any weapon. Where are the guns they've been using? They should surrender with their guns, you know? And that's why I say, if we don't be honest and transparent about this, we might be playing to the gallery, showing them, saying that surrender and be free, we believe in one Nigeria, and all those kind of stuff. The guns that are they saying that they left the guns and ran away? So these are things that we need to know. Where are the guns that they were using? Or are we leaving the guns with some other people to use? So these are things that they have to really look at.
But it's a good thing that at least ISWAP members, for instance, are surrendering. Because, I mean, we never heard of ISWAP members before, just Boko Haram. And the governor did say it there that it's something very positive.
You have to know that ISWAP members are soldiers of fortune. They are not even part of the Tuaregs that are fighting or Canories. These are people that came in from the Middle East. They were part of ISIS. And they are coming in because they are soldiers of fortune. They are looking for a war theater where they could fight and make some money. So those guys surrendering to you on which basis? Why don't they go back to where they come from?
Well, but
Why are they
we have quite a
surrendering
number of Nigerians who the majority of them are actually Nigerians. I mean, some of course left
Yes,
Boko
well-
Haram to join them, and of
Well,
course
we
they are
know about
Kanuris.
Boko Haram, we don't know about ISWAP. So I think the military authorities have to really look down on these points. Now, there's no need to brush over any of these things. This is war, and anything is possible. Like I said, it could be a Trojan horse, and they could come in there, and before you know it, they are fighting you from within.
From within.
Yes.
And that would be really, really problematic. Mr. Dennis Amakri, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be discussing the issue of the resettlement of the IDPs. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.